You may think I was the luckiest woman in the 16th century England. I was. At age 17, I was beautiful and married Sir Edward Burgh. He was 4 years older than me, handsome and sweet. We both are from noble and wealthy families. I thought the good times would never end, until 4 years later, when he suddenly died. My father-in-law returned my dowry and I became a widow. A year later, I met my father's second cousin, John Neville, 3rd Baron Latimer. He was wise and sweet. Even though he was twice my age, I loved him, and he loved me. We were married in 1934. Being Lady Latimer did not bring me great fortune. Most of our money was tied in a legal dispute, and John was forced to take sides with the rebel force against the king. He was basically kidnapped in front of me and his children. I had to take care of John's children during the time when he was away. And then the whole family was put on a blacklist when the rebels were defeated. Actually, my brother William Parr and my uncle both had to plead to save my husband's life. He did not join the rebel force out of his own will. However, even though no charge was ever laid against us, John and my reputations were tarnished. King's trusted right-hand man, Cromwell, blackmailed us for years. We finally got our good name back after his death. In 1542, John and I moved to London to attend Parliament. I thought we could finally live the life we deserved. But that winter, John got very sick. I stood by him, nursed him, and prayed for God not to take him away from me. But he died anyway. He left me the manor of Stowe and many other properties. He also asked me to take care of his daughter. He knew I would treat her as my own. However, upon his death, I realized I had to move back to our home in the north. However, while in London, I became friends with Lady Mary Tudor. My mother was a close friend to the late Queen Katherine of Aragon. She was actually my godmother, and I was named after her. I joined Lady Mary's household and met the handsome and powerful Thomas Seymour, brother to the late Queen Jane Seymour. Although I was still very sad for losing my late husband John, my heart jumped like a deer when Thomas was around. He was so handsome and sweet. He also fell for me. I did not feel I could be worthy of his love, but we were madly in love. Then King Henry noticed me when I first saw King Henry years ago. He was so tall and good looking, but then he was still the larger-than-life figure, but he looked old and sick. He started to shower me with gifts. I appreciated his kindness, but my heart belonged to Thomas. However, no matter where my heart was, my duty led me to accept the king as my husband. It broke my heart to leave Thomas, but I knew he could find a better woman. I knew he deserved a better woman. I don't know what King Henry saw in this twice-widowed 31-year-old, but I grabbed the heart of the most powerful king in Europe when I became his 6th wife on July 12, 1543. Despite King Henry's declining health and ever worse temper, I did not lose my head, nor my crown. Even though I was the Queen of England, I never one day forgot Thomas. Even though I buried all of my love for him deep in my heart. The king must somehow knew him as a threat. He was sent to Habsburg Court in Brussels as England's ambassador. Even when I did nothing, he suffered because of our love. I don't know if the king loved me or he just wanted my company. We both shared love for learning, so we had a lot to talk about. With my help, King Henry reconciled with his daughter, Mary and Elizabeth. While the darling Edward treated me like the mother he lost, I routinely checked on their learning. I did not only do it for them, but also for England. I want to make sure our next leader was wise and well-informed. They did not disappoint me. They all were extremely intelligent and well-educated. I probably had King Henry's heart when he proposed to me. And then, through my dedication to him, I slowly won his trust. Despite the ever-growing responsibility as a queen, I never gave up learning. From July to September 1544, King Henry went to France on an unsuccessful military campaign. He named me as a regent not only for the period when he was away, but also to rule in case he died. However, his trust created many enemies for me. People who felt women should not have power attacked me behind my back. In 1545, I published a popular book, Prayers or Meditations. I did not use my name, as I really did not want people to know I wrote it. But it fulfilled the dream I always had, spreading my religious views in my messages. In 1546, the Bishop of Winchester turned the king against me, and he issued a warrant out for my arrest. People said the king is now attracted to my friend, the Duchess of Suffolk, and my next stop would be the chopping block. I begged the king to protect and trust me, and he changed his mind. I knew how close I was to my death when a guard came to arrest me when I was walking with the king. Not long after the king died, he left me an annual allowance of £7,000. He also ordered people to continue to respect me as the Queen of England after his death. In January of 1547, after attending the coronation of my stepson, King Edward, I retired to my home at Old Manor in Chelsea. My love, Thomas Seymour, was allowed to come back to England when King Henry died. When we saw each other again, we had picked up where we left off 4 years ago. We secretly married just 6 months after King Henry's death. To avoid unnecessary trouble, we did not inform King Edward nor the council. Thomas sought help from Lady Mary, but she refused. Everyone was upset about my quick marriage to Thomas. Even Thomas's brother, the powerful Edward Seymour, turned against us. My sister-in-law, Anne Seymour, who once was my lady-in-waiting, said I should give my jewelry to her because I was no longer the Queen of England. She, as the wife of the Lord Protector, should be wearing the jewelry. Well, I gave her what she wanted. Who cared about the jewelry? I was a happily married woman. That was what I truly wanted, and I finally had it. In November of 1547, I published my second book, Lamentations of a Sinner. It was widely popular. Then, in 1548, I invited Lady Elizabeth and her cousin Jane Grey, the future 6-day queen, to live with me. I thought I can help with their education, but I soon realized what a costly lesson I was about to learn. Lady Elizabeth was getting more and more attractive, feeling for the girl who lost both her father and mother. I thought Thomas could fulfill the missing roles in her life as parents. Several months after I found myself pregnant with my first child, I found Elizabeth and Thomas in a compromising position. I asked Elizabeth to move out right away, but I never recovered from the pain. My heart was broken into 1,000 pieces. The two people I loved and trusted the most, how could they do this to me? A few months later, I died while giving childbirth to our little baby girl. She died soon after. Thomas wasted no time proposing to Elizabeth, who did not object to it, but only insisted on getting the council approval before they tied the knot. The council said no, and King Edward was furious. This one big miscalculation led to Thomas's downfall. He was then condemned to death and executed. Love. What is love? I was married 4 times, but only felt deep love when I married Thomas.